I remember saying to them, like, it's Mother's Day. So plan on, like, we're doing something.
Yeah.
Like, so
And
clear
you
your
get
day.
to,
Don't have something, and not in a mean
and that's
way.
not a lot to expect
but like,
for your grown kids.
No, and I think, but I just want to say that because don't be the passive aggressive mom. Like, if there's a need that's not being met for you in that way and you want to do something, instead of stewing on it, not saying anything, and then maybe it goes out in other outlets, like, just have a kind conversation. And like, this would really mean a lot to me. I would appreciate if you would make some time.
Yeah, it's kind of where we talk about finding your voice, like just instead of thinking it and like you said, just being disappointed, just calmly speak it. And this is what I would really like.
Yep.
And sometimes we're afraid to voice that because of just, we'll impose or we'll put people out or we don't want to stress our family. But if you're,
we want to be the martyr.
So don't do that because, at the end of the day, you want to have a nice day. I'm sure most of us do with your family, and you have some ideas around what that should look like.
Right. And
so
especially, right. And especially as our kids get older, we really, I mean, you always do. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynne. I'm Dr. Brooke.
And I'm Dr. Lynne.
Dr. Lynne, I'm going to be saying that in my sleep for weeks after all the recording we've done.
And I'm Dr. Lynne. I'm just going to walk into rooms. Hi, I'm Dr. Lynne.
It's like 10-second Tom from
50
Hi, I'm
50
Tom.
First Dates.
That's sort of what I'm starting to feel like.
Yeah.
Guys, we've done a lot of recording to bring you
good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Yes. Excellent stuff. And we've been covering a lot of heady, hard topics. If you tuned in, if it plays out the way it should, we just recently did one on like getting older and grappling with that. So I thought, let's just change it up and keep it light.
Yeah, we can do that. We're not all serious.
Right. Actually,
we're actually fun, you guys.
Believe it or not. So if you're listening on Sunday when it drops, it will be Mother's Day, or maybe we'll put it out the Sunday before, whatever, what have you. We wanted to talk about Mother's Day, celebrating us as mothers, and kind of looking back through the years, like what Mother's Day was like then, what you would really want, what you would really want now, maybe some ideas for fun things that you've done, like sort of stuff like that. Just keep it light.
Yeah, so start us off.
Well, I think, like, for me, I don't know about you, actually. I don't know if you and I have ever discussed this, because it's funny because we go so deep with each other and we know so much about each other, but because we don't live in the same community, we don't go through the day to day. So I don't even really know, like, do you guys make a thing on Mother's Day? Do you do something, or is it just kind of, because for some it's not like
a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, it should be. I firmly believe it should be. But like, what happens here in New England is and my boys played spring sports. They played lacrosse. So I remember years where I was like fuming because I'm like, really, is this like, can we not just have a break for Mother's Day? Because we're sitting on the field.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't take breaks for things like that, but they should.
I feel like they should, but they don't. So anyway, were you doing dance typically, or that was past that?
That's late in the season, so we wouldn't have had. So Mark very often spends his birthday at nationals for dance, but Mother's Day usually there's a lull.
Okay,
so
you have downtime.
Maybe there was like very early on, like spring soccer, but I can't imagine like YMCA games would have been scheduled on those weeks, on those days. So I'm pretty sure we've had free Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the conversation around what you would have wanted then versus what you want now, because it is very different.
Looks different, right?
And what I did want then was I didn't want to have to do any work, but it really didn't ever, pan out that way, because it's just not how our lives were set up. And I mean, my husband's very good. He helps a lot around the house. So, I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones for that. So, but he, it's kind of like 50-50, and he really just didn't, I don't know. I mean, he's gotten better with it now, but like when your kids are small and it's just everybody needed a break on the weekend. Mm-hmm. So it might've been Mother's Day, but it was also like, you still need to help me out here.
Yeah.
Because we were both like, running.
Right. Yeah. I think, well, I get that. You guys are running your business together. I was kind of firm. I had a kind of a firm foot on like, if you're not cleaning up and doing the dishes and doing the cooking, and then nothing is getting done today because I'm not doing it.
That's good.
Yeah. And
That's good.
so Kenny was, well, Kenny just didn't have a choice, but
Yeah.
that's kind of was like the,
So would you usually do the cleanup and the dishes and the cooking?
yes.
Oh,
Kenny
yeah.
doesn't do any of that. No,
Yeah.
no offense to him. I just
No.
was kind of like, because
So
he's,
then you deserve to have a day off.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. When the kids were little, he was very good about helping me with the, I shouldn't say helping because they're both our kids. That sounds ridiculous.
I know what you mean.
But
Pitching in.
he would come home, and as soon as he came home from work, um, it was kid focused. So let
That's
me
great.
help them when they were at the point homework, but let me play with them. Let me take them off your hands. You've been here with them
That's
all day.
great.
I'm going to give them a bath. I'm going to read them the books. I'll put them to bed. He was very good about, because I was home the majority of the time, and he was just working his tail off, and he was traveling a lot. So I was happy to, he doesn't. I was happy to pick up most of the slack. But when he came home, I got the break because he would take the kids. So I've always just done like the cooking for sure. He's not great in the kitchen, so that's fine. And he'll do the dishes and clean up too. We like share equal
Yeah.
parts. But then it was like I'll bath the kids. I'll put them to bed. I'll read them a
Which
story.
that was the
I'll
hard
play
part.
with them. Yeah, by the end of the day, if you remember those years, if you were whoever was home with your kids, like you can be frazzled. We were out of the house mostly anyway, but I was kind of firm on like just give me like cut me some slack here. I don't want to do any work. I don't want to do dishes. I'm not cooking. I'm not
Yeah.
cleaning up after all the children's things. That was like my one day of like,
Yeah.
but it was never, I don't think, I think if I could have had what I wanted, well, no, that's not fair because the years that they didn't have games and we could do, I could kind of pick what we were going to do. It was always something that was like active that we could do with the kids and have fun together.
That's great.
So yeah, so that was really fun. We had a period of time where we were into biking.
Really?
Yeah. And so we had like carriers for the kids. When we had one for AJ that like put on the back, two of them could sit in if they wanted to. We had a seat on the back of the other. And anyway, one year we went in, it was really fun. We went into Boston and biked along the Charles River, like along Harvard
Oh, that's
in
nice.
that whole pathway. And then we parked the bikes and then we went there was a brewery there. So we went and had like a really late lunch or an early dinner. So that was really fun. And then we had a couple years of going to a Red Sox game. And I have the great pictures. It was so much fun. They were little, like I have pictures of them hanging on me in the
Mm.
restaurants and stuff. But, and then we would go to lunch first and then go to the Red Sox game. So I tried to like, keep us active and involved something because they're boys and I wanted them to have fun too, but I wanted to be doing it with them and it needed to be a sport or an activity or you know whatever. So
Yeah. Everybody would have a better time if you just got out, did
yeah,
something all together.
right.
Yeah. I mean, we do brunch, like we eat out. I can't even like, is this bad? I don't even really remember. Like, there aren't any Mother's Day that stick out.
Huh, okay. I mean brunches
Why
are
is
pretty
that?
typical. I don't know. Maybe you just did the brunch and maybe it was just you have to go back and look at your 10-year journal
Yeah, exactly.
and see what you did.
Yeah. Except for it always occurs on a different day.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. You wouldn't know which day was Mother's Day. Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I think it's funny because there were some times I can recall, and I'm sure a lot of moms feel this, that there were some years that I was like, what I really want is to go away from all you people and to go spend the day at the spa
Yes.
or like
Yes.
just get a massage and rest. And I think you actually did a post about this once on social media where it was like what you wanted for Mother's Day then was
Yeah.
like to rest and now because they're grown and like almost out of the house, what you
You're
want
like,
is for them to
come
be around you and
home.
all the noise and
I'll
all the
cook. I don't care if it's Mother's Day. Come
yeah.
home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's an interesting, like a little bit of a
Yeah.
tricky thing.
We're not great celebrators. You wouldn't think that but I don't know. I think traditionally, like holidays, we've struggled with at our family because I'm just a minimalist when it comes to that. And that's how I grew up. Like, you don't need all of that extra stuff. It's the people you're with. It's good food. You need that. Good wine. You need that. But Mark, I think, also grew up similarly that way with being a farm kid. You know, they just didn't make a big fuss. But now that I think about it, like, why not? Maybe that's something you should plan in advance. Maybe give some thought to it. Like, especially if you're going to be one of those people, and I've done this. I'm certainly not above it, where you kind of, you know, you hope for something, but you don't really voice it or tell your family, give your family instructions, and you
Yeah.
just want them to read your mind, and then it doesn't happen, and then you're disappointed.
Right.
You know.
Which isn't
So
necessarily fair, right?
no, it's not fair at all, unless you know. So I can't like you my this we're getting in all
Uh-oh.
up in my business here, but you know, my I'm not bragging, but my husband like really he has acts of love of service for love. So he
Mhm.
does that's how he shows me love.
Yeah.
And my love language is gifts. So
Mhm.
he is clued into that. But early on in our relationship, like he just couldn't get that because he
Yeah.
would like, here, I'm over here. I'm doing all of this stuff for you. And it's not enough. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so we had some of our worst fights really. And we worked together, like honestly, like about those types of matters. And, you know, ironically, when I let that go and I just realized I was really looking to be pampered, I was really like thinking I was entitled to something. Um, and you could argue that both ways. You're probably sitting there and going, girl, like, yeah, you should have that. But you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But when, ironically, when I let that go and I was just going to be content with whatever, they have really in my family stepped that up.
Mhm.
And I know that in part it got so bad because I was punishing them when they would do something for me. It wasn't
Mm.
good enough. It wasn't enough. And so then they just were like a dog with their tail between their legs, you know, my husband and my daughter. And they would, and I didn't, you know, admonish them, but they could just tell it
Yes,
wasn't
that you
living
weren't
up to
satisfied.
my, yeah, to my, what is it? AJ says isn't living up to my
Luxuries.
luxuries. Um, and so there was quite a few years of training them that way. And so then I realized I was doing that and I realized I had to stop.
Mhm.
And that's when I let go of it. And then from that point, like they really do my birthday this year. Like they really sort of go above and beyond now because I think that they realize like I'm going to be fine and they're happy to do it.
Yeah, so it came full circle because you're saying like, and when you said you were training them, meaning like you were training them, not like you were
I was
actively training them, but
negatively
you were
conditioning
negatively
them.
impacting
Yeah.
them because you had a
Yeah.
poor attitude about it. So when you just let go of that rein and just let it be what it was, it gave them the freedom to appreciate, not appreciate you more because they
Right.
appreciate you,
I
but do
didn't
more.
have the expectation and the entitlement around it. Like, it is Mother's Day. I am your mother.
Yes.
You need to, I am your wife. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you what to buy me. Like, you should be listening for these hints all year, you
Yes.
know? And at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some,
Yep.
right? So, my husband's amazing in so many areas. He does not pick up on those fashion clues or those things the way that I would. So, it's so much. And I took this page from you, so much easier. I give him a list. I still like to be surprised. So I give
Mhm.
him a list of some things that strike my fancy in different price ranges and different ease to get them. And I give it to him and he uses that all year for, you know, my birthday or Mother's Day or um, Christmas. And it's like, it's all a surprise. I have no
Mm.
idea. He feels good about it because he knows, okay, I'm getting her something she's going to be surprised about, but she has no idea what it is, but I know she's going to like it cuz she picked it out, right?
Yes.
So it's just a win-win. Sometimes you just have to compromise. It's
Right.
just one of those compromising times, you know? And what I realized is I wish I could go back in time and do that a lot earlier because it really created a lot of strife in our home, you know, between
Yeah.
tension, I guess.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to go through those things to come out on the other
Yeah,
side better for it, right?
right.
And learn lessons, and
Yep.
so I think we all do those things. And I've walked a similar. We've unpacked this together off camera and on camera because my husband's sort of similar there, except
He's pretty
he's
good.
huh.
Isn't he pretty good? I know you give him a
Well, I mean, I
list, but
started that. Well, and actually, we even for a long while were, and we still do to an extent. Um, is like when there's a birthday or our anniversary or Christmas, we'll go shopping together. That's kind of like a gift to me because he doesn't like to shop and I do. I like to browse and I like to, it's like fun for me. And so we'll go to a really nice meal either before or after, but he'll spend some time and go like, now I have to have in mind what I want. He's not going to go and shop with me for 2 hours, but he'll give me like, 30, 45 minutes in a store where I like, it might be like, oh, maybe I want a pair of earrings or maybe you know what I mean. And so we've been doing that and that's very nice because I'm sort of picking it. It's not really a
Right.
surprise, but it's time spent and I know like he's making the time doing something he doesn't necessarily like it shows love to me.
Right.
So that's
He's
but
making a
that's
sacrifice of
right.
sorts.
Exactly. So that's not necessarily a Mother's Day thing though. Like Mother's Day is always, I don't know, is a big thing for me. And I can imagine like I like this year, for example, and I'm assuming it'll be last year. And then this year coming up too, because I've got two of them away, but they will be home. Most of them, if they're in college, they're home by
So it's
Mother's
nice.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or right around some of them, I guess, maybe not. But like, I remember last year telling my kids, and I'm also though not the mom that puts a lot of like expectations on them. So when I do, it's easier, I think, to be met because they're not getting it all the time. Do you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like, I remember saying to them, like, it's Mother's Day. So plan on like we're doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like so
And
clear
you
your
get to,
day.
yep.
Don't have something and not in a
And
mean
that's not
way.
a lot to expect
But like
for your grown kids.
no, and I just want to say that because don't be the passive aggressive mom. Like if there's a need that's not being met for you in that way and you want to do something, instead of stewing on it, not saying anything, and then maybe it goes out in other outlets, like just have a kind conversation. And like this would really mean a lot to me. I would appreciate if you would make some time.
Yeah, it's kind of where we talk about finding your voice, like just instead of thinking it and like you said, just being disappointed, just calmly speak it. And this is what I would really like.
Yep.
And sometimes we're afraid to voice that because of just, we'll impose or we'll put people out or we don't want to stress our family. But
Yeah.
if you're,
We want to be the martyr.
yeah. So don't do that because, at the end of the day, you want to have a nice day. I'm sure most of us do with your
Yeah.
family and you have some ideas around what that should look like.
Right. And
So speak them.
especially right. And especially as our kids get older, we really I mean, you always do, but I think we value that even more.
Appreciate it even
The
more.
time spent and feeling a little
Do you
appreciated.
think when does that switch over? Is that when the child is married? Do you suppose,
So
or becomes a
I was
mother?
just thinking we should unpack that too, because that can be a conundrum. And I'm sure our moms that listen that have, well, and you have Jordan, he's married with kids, but I'm sure our moms that have sons that are married and have kids, so they have another mother in their life. Like, what does that could probably for a lot of people is tricky because their wife is not their mom, but they want to celebrate their wife because it's
I
the
know.
mother of their
So I know
children.
some
But yet,
people.
here's my mom too.
I know some people have some very strong feelings about that. That Mother's Day is for your mother, not your wife.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
not one of them necessarily, but right?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at it, and it's easy for us to say that as a mother.
Maybe it's the people that like their kids are grown are the ones that are saying that or that
Yeah,
I've heard that
because
from.
when I was a mom, when my kids were little, like my kids were too little to know to do anything. So it had to come from my husband. After we moved to Boston, it was kind of a moot point because we couldn't be there physically anyway to spend time with our mothers. But I've always made a point still on Mother's Day. I send flowers or I get a gift or something. I even did that with my grandmothers until they passed. And
That's
Ken's
nice.
grandmother, just to like show appreciation to them. But when we all still lived in the same town, I remember like we had years, and this could be an idea for you if you're struggling with it. Karen, although you probably don't want to host, but Karen or my brother's wife would host like a Mother's Day picnic.
For
And
the
so we would
family.
all be together.
That's nice.
So that was a really nice way to get around that and not feel bad. So Ken and I would have my time with my family in the morning.
So you like literally had a picnic?
Oh, sorry. Like, no, we didn't like go into a park and have a picnic basket. It was like basically like an outdoor, let's cook out, let's play some yard
Got
games.
it.
Maybe I should have said a barbecue.
Okay.
I don't know.
Got it.
But maybe that's a Western PA thing that we call it that term. But yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. But anyway, so that's what we would do. And that's kind of like, that's not a bad idea. And I know that my brothers in years past because they're still in town, would do like a brunch with their wives and their kids, but ask my mother to come too, right? So there's like ways around it, but it's tricky. I don't like to think about that because I
Yeah, I think the cutoff is when you're me from what I've seen is when your child gets married or becomes a mother themselves.
yeah, I would say once there's grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because even
then
if they're
it's
married, she's not a mother yet.
right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's sort of like you can, once that happens, you probably need to prioritize the little ones and the mother of the spouse,
Yeah, absolutely.
your daughter in law, son in law, whoever it is.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So last year we went, yeah, I get into Mother's Day. Like I try to do something or pick something that they're all not going to be like, oh, we gotta go for Mother's Day. Which is good. It's
It's a
good.
good thing you like sports.
It's usually something that yeah, the older I get, the more it's like a tolerance, but just because if I want to be with them, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yep.
Um,
Smart.
and nobody's going to get their nails done with me. Like they don't. So, but we went to the weather didn't cooperate, but we went to like an outdoor shopping area that's got like a lot of restaurants and bars. And so we went and had a really nice late lunch. And then we all did a little bit of shopping there. There was some things that I needed. So I kind of like picked my own little whatever. And then we've been doing a lot. We do a lot of sports. I think it was the Celtics that we went to. We've had many Mother's Days where we've been at the Celtics too.
That's fun. Yeah, because basketball's the world's longest season.
And I will
Professional
say,
basketball.
if you're a mom of boys, just in general, it doesn't even have to be Mother's Day, but like, even if you don't like sports, if they really do, if your boys are sports lovers, to do, even if you don't love it, to make a point to go with them. There's something to that. It's almost for you forced family fun because you're forcing your own self to go in on the fun because nobody's going anywhere. You're sitting elbow to elbow. If something exciting happens, you're all like cheering together and high-fiving and hugging. There's something there that's like creates moments.
Shared experiences.
Right. That's it can be really special that you're not going to get at a restaurant or at home or you know what I mean?
That's so true. Yeah, that's good. I like the idea of like doing something. Great meals are awesome and they really are the bullseye or the center of most of our happy memories.
Yep.
But I love the idea of actually getting out and doing something active or something your kids would like, just so that everybody, gets something from the day.
Right. And you probably can't time this with Mother's Day, but I would say, like, if I'm thinking about you with your relationship with Lila, like one thing that you guys have a shared experience that you love to do is concerts. And it's a similar thing
Yeah.
because I do go to concerts.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough, like, that my boys will ask me, not all the time, but sometimes we'll go. We did like I forget who. Oh, it was Zach Brown band, and I think Kenny Chesney came, and so we all went. Andrew couldn't come because he was already at school, but we all went. And that too, it gets a similar, just to put it in perspective, because you guys don't necessarily do a lot of sport. Well, you do some. You go to basketball games and things like that. But it's like being at a concert with them gives you the same feel because you're all there. It's a shared experience. You're sitting together. No one's going anywhere. Everyone's dancing and having fun. And it's just, so.
Yeah, I think concerts are like making a comeback for me. They're 20s, 30s, 40s. I was like, heck no, I don't need to go out to a concert. That sounds like a lot of work. And
on
usually,
a weeknight, and
I mean, really,
8?
You want me to leave my house on a Wednesday? Are you crazy? But no, I think it's really smart to get out there and see who you love, the artists that you love, just in case they stop touring for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen with a couple of artists that I love, and I'm like, darn it, I missed it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no time like the present.
I've often, I think I have like, I usually each year have like, it seems silly, but I put those on my goals framework, like that I want to do 2 to 3 concerts a year because it just brings it to mind. I remember saying that one to my dad, and my dad was like, why would you put that like on a goals? Like, who cares? Like, just if you want to do it, go. But if you have to, you have to be intentional, or the year can go by and you don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. And then when you're browsing on the internet or whatever, and the ad comes up for a concert, it's something that you're making happen.
Yeah.
So and honestly, you're more open to those. It's that confirmation bias, right? So if you are trying to buy a blue car, all of a sudden you'll see blue cars
Right.
everywhere, right? So if you know that you need to go to a concert or want to go to a concert, pretty soon you'll notice the billboards for the
Yeah.
concerts and you, otherwise it could have just
Right.
been stimulus that just was in and out and
Mhm.
you didn't pay attention to it.
So this is a little off topic, but what I did, because I usually write down, like, I like to make a goal of um, a couple of concerts, a couple of like shows or musicals, and at least one comedian. Just because we were watching
That's
Nate
great.
Bargatze. How do you say his name last night? But anyway, I'm on the Ticketmaster mailing list. So
Oh.
I get an ongoing email, which most things you're trying to get out of those subscriptions, but it's always letting me know comedians,
Yeah,
musicals in my area, or concerts that are coming
that's
and
great.
when the shows go on sale. So it's not only as a reminder, but it's also like, oh, I really want to,
Yeah.
I don't have, because to your point, like otherwise you wouldn't know unless you go looking for somebody that you want
Yeah.
to see. You wouldn't know who's coming to your city.
No, I want to, I should do that. I don't have that on my goals list. So I'm going to put that in because there's a few people that I would really like to see. And then also I just want to go a few venues. Like I want to, everybody always talks about the Red Rocks venue in Colorado. I don't know if that'll be this year and I'm okay with it, but also Vegas in the Sphere.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love that. I think
Well,
we missed the boat with Coldplay there
oh,
or U2. I mean,
yeah.
yes.
U2 is
Coldplay.
there, I think.
Coldplay is, am I making that up? Is Coldplay coming to play in this fair?
I don't know.
I think I might be fact check me there.
So yeah, seeing at the Sphere, that would be cool. It is, and on our, we'll circle back to the topic and we can start to wrap. But just so you know that we have a section, if you don't already have the Life After Kids Goals framework, there's a whole section for fun or travel. We have them lumped both together, but that's the place for you to start writing about things like that you want to bring more of into your life, right?
Yeah, I'm
Because
glad we did that because some people, as crazy as it seems, like you forget to plan the fun things. And then the year goes by and you think, oh, well, I got all of these things done, which is great, but like, what else do I have to show for it?
right. And at this age, our goals should not just be all about like career goals and what are we striving for? What do we want to purchase or what are we working towards? It should be more like goals of cultivating a fun, fulfilling. So that's one piece of it. So anyway, back to the Mother's Day conversation.
Yes.
We're at Mother's Day now, so this ship is kind of sailed, but think about it for next year. That's something you could work into your goals framework
Yeah,
if you wanted to, and stop and think about what you want that to look. That could be, like it's probably it is the greatest job we'll ever do, and I think it should be celebrated the way you want to celebrate it. So
absolutely. That was well said.
yep. So anyway, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on this like roundabout. We hit a lot of different topics. But thank you for joining us. I hope that you have an amazing Mother's Day and you get to spend some quality time either with your own mother or with your children, whatever that looks like for you. And write in and let us know what you're doing. We would love to hear about it. Love to
Yes.
get ideas. I'm always
Yeah.
open to new and fun things.
I know. It's got my wheels spinning on what I'm going to be doing next in the years coming for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that ahead of time.
This is really a stupid question, but is Mother's Day a thing in Canada? Is
Yeah.
that it's not just an
No.
American and you celebrate it the same day? It's not like,
Yeah.
some of our
We
holidays
do
are
have
different.
some differences, but yes,
Mother's Day is
Mother's Day is Mother's Day.
okay, cool.
Mothers are universal, it seems.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like that, but I never thought about that. If any of you are listening and you live like in Europe or some elsewhere, like out of the contiguous Americas, I would love to know like if that's a thing. That's never even crossed my mind for any
No,
reason, but I wonder.
it's a good question.
So anyway, thanks again for joining us, ladies. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok for latest updates. And www.lifeafterkids.com for all of our free resources that will help you live a more meaningful life after kids and for the blog. And if you would prefer to watch us over listen, then we are also on YouTube.
Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy.